one of the archetypes that is in the very middle that can really express this energy, both in the low frequency and the high frequency, is gate 40. Today, I want to use gate 40 as the overarching archetype that we can understand Virgo through. So this is the gate of aloneness. And I can see this very much in the Virgos that have been in my life, that they have that ability to become the lone wolf. So here we have the gate of aloneness. And often we have that way of interpreting the world with Virgo, especially in the low frequency, that, okay, I'll better do it myself because then at least I'm going to know it's going to be done right. And that leads to aloneness. I don't need anybody. I'll do it better. It's better I'll do it myself. At the end of the day, it's going to be less work because I'm not going to have to redo it, and I'm not going to have to deal with the people who didn't do it the way I wanted to. So I'm going to also avoid the friction. If you have Virgo and you have an undefined emotional center, you're probably avoiding conflict by taking on too much and serving in your way of seeing it a lot. And at the same time, there can be this resentment because the earth is not truly nurtured. So that's partly why I feel archetype 40 is such a good representation of the Virgo energy. We can go and look at the frequency band again. So when you become that lone wolf, you're actually putting yourself into a risk zone of exhaustion, because nobody in this world, we are one human organism, and nobody can do it all by themselves. So relating to your Virgo, to your sixth house like that, is going to lead to exhaustion, and it's going to take you away from real resolve, where actually God, goddess, energy, light comes in and works with you so that you can embody more of what you are, and then life resolves itself. And when your life resolves itself, you are going to serve in the highest possible way for others. Looking at where it is in the body graph, this is even more telling. The ego center is here to have a great output so that it can rest. It's that simple. The ego center is a motor, and it's not a motor that we get to turn on and just drive into 1,000 kilometers per hour. It's not this kind of gas pedal that you just put in and then forever it's just there. We are not speaking here about energy, for example, Leo energy, fixed fire. We're speaking about the energy that has a great output, and then it's time to rest. And the reason why it has a great output is that it's smart in that way. I'm going to do as little I can for the greatest result possible. So gate 40 is here to resolve things, to work in the community, to be in its right place, and to have God as that source. And God is inside of ourselves. So whenever we're outsourcing energy to others, like this is something that you will often hear Virgo say, oh, I just have to do this. Oh, I wish I could have fun, but I just have to. So when you say, I have to, you're giving your power away. And you can only get more what you are. So when you are in the energy of I have to, you become powerless and you create more situations where you're powerless. If you have a lot of Virgo, check yourself. Anytime you say, I have to, then check yourself how you can be empowered by saying, I get to do, or neurolinguistically changing the way that you're speaking, but also the way that you're feeling. And if there are a lot of things, a lot of shoulds, a lot of have to, probably you're setting your life up in the sense that you can have a great output and then you can rest. That's very important if you have Virgo activations or if you have ego center activations. This is a motor. It's about willpower. It's about ego, but it's not here to be turned on all the time. You're not doing yourself a favor if you are promising things that you don't feel that you have all the energy in the world for. When you say, I'm going to do this, it's because you know for a fact that you have the energy to finish whatever it is. And if you don't feel that, don't even do it. Going back to what I said about this is part of the tribal or the community. When it comes to the 40, it's connected to the 37. This is the gate of community. This is a design where a part is seeking a whole. It's projected. The purpose of your life is to find where you belong in the grand scheme of things and then live that out. Instead of trying to find it, wait until communities or people invite you in. And here we have one of the places on the wheel. There are 3 places on the wheel, remember, that we have the harmonic gate and the programming partners are the same. So we have 4037, we have 2034, And then we have 2343. Those are the three places. So these are channels that are existing more often in the design than other gates and channels. It's so important when it comes to how we are building the world from that level of community, from that level of the tribe. Are we here to exhaust ourselves in rigid roles that aren't serving anymore? Or are we finding a way of co-creating, of being in the right place, of having inner source, of having God, naturalness allow us to co-create? When we have the 40, we speak about service, balance, and relaxation in the high frequency. And then when we have the mother, it's caregiving and warmth. When those two are working in the high frequency, we have resolve, we have equality, we have community. That is how we want them to work. That is the human pathway. That is how the tribe can not only survive, but thrive. The really highest frequency of the tribe is when we have tenderness, we have that inner source of divine will, and we create a synthesis in everything we do. It's not bargaining or bartering. I'm doing this for you, so you can do this for me. Oh, I guess this is my role. I have to be the mother. I have to be the father. I have to be this. I have to be that. No, it's the synthesis of the beauty of co-creating, of living together. And unfortunately, often we can still see that we're living out this channel in the low frequency, where we have the exhaustion, we have the perception that we're weak, and we also have the bargaining. I'm doing all this for you. Can you not do something for me? And yeah, that's not going to create, again, thriving families, thriving communities. It's not tit for tat. It is that synthesis of community where everybody's coming in, doing what the light, what the energy brings through us. And then the resolve is natural. If we are going out a little bit more, I already mentioned tribal circuitry. Here you can see that there are two different circuits that are in the tribal circuitry, color coded. This is then called the ego circuit. So the ego circuit is the black, and then we have the sacral smile here that is in the middle of the body graph from the sacral out on both sides. And here we have the kids that are being made, the child mating, and here we have the kids that are being educated. So that's like where we have the grassroots, where it comes from. But the ego circuit is the circuit where we are not only surviving, but thriving on the material plane. So we see the things that are needed, who can do what. We have the aspiration. We also have the message. We can even change the past and the memory with Gate 44. We can speak to and influence in the direction that we want things to go, and we can manage the resources, and we also have the resources. So much of this is part of how can we create communities that are thriving. And we need to look at all these gates and make sure that they are lived out in the higher frequency. I already said that this is one of the places in the wheel where we're going to have this cool thing where the 37 and the 40 are a channel, harmonic gates, and they also are opposites in the wheel. So that means that if you have the 40 in your activation sequence, you're going to have the whole channel. You're going to have this opposite of Virgo and Pisces. And that is the same thing if you have the 40 in your nodes, you're also going to have the 30. So this is this tangible in the everyday where we are in the tangible, mutable earth. And then on the other side is what's beyond Pisces, mutable water, the very last sign before we start over in a new spiral. They are definitely opposite. And this is also an opposite that as a human can be the biggest challenge, because we are here on earth in physical bodies, mutable earth, and at the same time we are spirit incarnated in form, and we have that awareness, that perception, that big ocean of beyond in everything that we are connected to, but it's behind the veil for many of us. So this is a very spiritual axis, and the most important thing here is how can you actually reconciliate spirit and body. So you are here to become vessels for spirit coming through form. The very important thing for that is to allow the soul to be home. And the way that you allow the soul to be home is to not exhaust yourself serving everybody else, saying, I have to, becoming the lone wolf. I guess I'm going to do it so I don't have to deal with everybody else doing it less well than I'm doing it. It all goes together. Looking at where we are in the wheel, so we have the Virgo sign in that part where we have the quarter of duality inside of that. So here we have purpose that is fulfilled through relationships, whether there are love stories in Leo, and then we have this that we're actually of true service to ourselves and to other. In Virgo, Libra, we are refining that balance, that harmony in relationships, the true partnerships that last for a long time, often even a lifetime. And then we have the transformation potential when we are really loyal into those partnerships in Scorpio, where it's transformation and we go beyond what we were and we become reborn over and over again when we dare to die, when we dare to surrender, when we dare to merge with the other. So this is an extremely powerful quarter of the wheel where there is so much potential for a completely new kind of relationships, but also for dying and getting reborn through relationships. And the very last part, we look at the I Ching. So here we have the part of the wheel. There are 8 different parts where we have 8 archetypes in each part. And here we have water on the bottom. And that is the trigram of water. So it's yin, yang, yin. So those archetypes here are going to have water on the bottom. There is also transformation potential. If we think about water, I will connect it back to Scorpio, for example. So when we are looking at, for example, 29 here in Virgo on the cusp, we have water over water, which is the abysmal. So we have that energy of depth. We have that energy of movement. We have that energy in the 29 that starts it, which is the sensing circuit, where we say completely yes to an experience until it ends. And that goes back to the ego center. We're not here to drive forever in the same experience. We're just here to say yes as long as it lasts. And that's where Virgo, again, can drag things with it just because it has to, because it has that kind of task it's given itself. And maybe people are starting to expect it, but from the beginning, nobody was expecting it. So it's to actually come back into self-service and communicate that in a clear way. And here in this specific one with the 40, we're going to have the water on the bottom and then thunder on top. So looking at how we can play with the gene keys, 51 is thunder over thunder, the 29 is water over water, so the 40 is a combination of the 51 and the 29 hexagram or gene key. So that makes us see that the shadow of exhaustion is agitated half-heartedness. And that is the mother that is trying to do everything for her kids and that want to bake the cakes for the birthday party tomorrow for a friend, and instead of going and buying the cake in the store, she's doing it at 3:30 in the morning, and she feels exhausted and she feels agitated. And actually what she's doing is half-hearted because she doesn't care about her own well-being. She doesn't care about serving herself first. When you are exhausting yourself, when you are creating those situations of agitation with way too much responsibility, it's not wholeheartedness, it's half-heartedness. So that's important to understand here. Resolve is initiating commitment. And then divine will is awakened devotion. So that is when we are in the right place at the right time, the synarchy of the tribe, when it has cracked through the mutable earth. It is awakening through us. And that is the devotion to that task that is just a flow for us that we can do. And that's what true resolve is. As we're allowing that energy, that light, that higher frequency to work through us.